Good morning. It's a great pleasure to be here and talk about cities and one of the great world cities. I'm here to set the stage a little bit for some of the conversations that you'll have over the coming hours and days, and sort of a bit of a step back, if you will. No ordinary disruption. What do we mean by that? Well, we all know what a disruption is. A disruption is something we didn't expect, and then we respond to it. And we all have success in how we respond. We're successful people because we respond well. We have a series of beliefs and assumptions that allow us to handle disruptions. Well, I have good news and bad news. The good news is that we are living in extraordinary times. We've had wonderful times, and we can continue to see this great journey that we have in our cities ongoing, and we can support it, we can enjoy it. That's the good news. The bad news is those very same forces that are propelling this journey are going to make all of us, all our beliefs, all of our assumptions obsolete. So we'll have to figure out how to respond to that kind of disruption, which is no ordinary disruption. So what do I mean by all that? For about 2,000 years, thousands and thousands of years, the human race was smart enough to basically feed itself. The world economy grew at 0 to 0.5%, not much population growth. We basically staggered along from war to famine to plague to etc. And then around about the 1700s, all of a sudden something happened, and call it industrialization. We also call it urbanization. As you can see, world population growth started to grow, productivity growth started to grow. We got to take off. We're running at roughly 1 to 2%. Now, that keeps running along until what could happen? It's 1950, and all of a sudden things go crazy. We're growing at 4%, 4 or 5%, and it's equal portions population and productivity. And this is what we think is normal. This is what we promised our children. This is what we promised our pension plans. This is what we think can continue. Can it continue or not? That's our question. We believe it can, but we think that the way it's going to continue is going to be very, very different. First of all, emerging market cities. I have to beg to differ with Mike. London, New York, unfortunately, are not going to be the places where we see most of the growth. Most of the growth is coming out of emerging markets. 440 emerging market cities will be on course to generate half of the world's growth. That seems like an obvious number. Here's another less obvious one. Today, 8,000 companies with over $1 billion of revenue. 2025, 15,000 companies with over $1 billion worth of revenue. 70% of those companies are likely to come from emerging markets. How many of the cities in this room can say that they have approached those 70% of those companies to be headquartered in their city, to hire, to develop factories? Those are where the opportunities are. I don't see as many of those emerging market cities and companies as I would hope in this room. Technology. 1 trillion objects to be connected through the Internet of Things. $1 to $2 trillion worth of value to be created in technology related to cities' Internet of Things. And where is this? This is transportation. This is the value of life and the value of time. That's why autonomous vehicles make sense, is because fewer people die, and because they save money, because they save time, because they save parking. Plus air and water. Why does that matter? Well, again, because it saves the value of life, value of time. These are things that people will and are paying for, and they are going to be connected. They're going to be connected from the traffic control to the video crime, to the water, to the air, all these things. We're seeing the growth of a new urban infrastructure at a faster pace than we ever could have. It took 400 years to go from the printing press to the laser printer. It's taking 30 years to go from the laser printer to the 3D printer. Who knows what's coming next, the bioprinter. I'll give you one example. This house, everybody's seen this house. This is a 3D printed house. It costs $5,000. Why is this not the solution for affordable housing in the next 5 years everywhere in the world? This can be done today. So, technology is going to change the way we think about what is possible, and that is a good thing because we are changing. We're getting older faster, and that has good news and bad news. 1 out of 4 people in advanced economies and in China will be over the age of 65 in the year 2040. For most of us in this room, this is a good thing because we will have lots of friends. But on the other hand, if you are set up to believe that you are going to be able to grow based on population growth, your city is getting older, faster. And so now you're going to have to think less about population and more about productivity. How are you going to be able to work smarter as opposed to relying on so many people coming into your workforce? This is going to create not only changes in the economic fabric, but in the social fabric. Finally, globalization. We know that when cities are connected to the world, they grow faster, up to 40% faster. And as you can see, as we look at the rankings of the most connected places in the world, cities are right at the top there. You see Hong Kong and Singapore. But also we see cities that fall down the list. Past the Dubais of the world, we get down to the Oman, the Estonia, to Bahrain. There are places which are less connected, and there are cities which are outside the flow, and they are falling further and further behind. And that is a challenge, because those walls, those moats that we put up around our cities, they will not hold. Ultimately, they will fall down, and when they fall down, those who are ready for that change, they will be successful. So what do we advise? 3 things. First of all, stay curious, come to these meetings, keep talking to each other. Secondly, be agile, respond quickly, be low cost. You can't respond if you're high cost. And thirdly, be optimistic. Winston Churchill, I am an optimist. There does not seem to be much point in being anything else. As most mayors would say, they agree with that. Thank you very much. We look forward to working with you.